people like me would say that this whole frontline versus back office thing is a made up political thing. And people like me would say that virtually everyone in public healthcare right now in all your hospitals knows that there was a hiring freeze. Now, the government has been saying for ages, no hiring freeze. We know there's awful shortages of doctors and nurses, and we're doing everything in our power to hire them. Of course, that's not true. You can get away with saying it's not a hiring freeze if you trickle through a few hires. And so I've got colleagues in nursing, for example, that say we have 45 vacant nurse spots. We are allowed to recruit two, to advertise for two a fortnight. So it's kind of like the police thing you were talking about a minute earlier in your intro. Um, you know, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that there's a hiring freeze. It would be nice to have some honesty. I could respect them more if they just said, "Yep, we spent 2.9 billion on property investors to make their lives better, and all this money on tax cuts for people that need it at least. And so we have to do things like cut benefits for beneficiaries and the disabled. We have to put a hiring freeze on our doctor and nurse positions. You know, we've got managers in nursing who say that they know a person is going to be taking maternity leave, and by the time they get the position advertised, let alone filled, the maternity leave that that person requested is already half to 2/3 over. And then they're told, because that person's going to be coming back soon in just a few months, we don't need to advertise it right now. We can't fill it. So, I mean, how patently absurd is that? And it's not like, I talk to a lot of people. It's not just one or two folks saying this. This is rampant throughout New Zealand within the public system. We're being told one thing. It's gaslighting. You're being told that there's we're recruiting and we're hiring and this and that, but your eyes don't lie. You know that the call rosters are emptier. You know that there's fewer people to cover sick leave. You know that when you go to hire someone new in a department, they don't get their contract for a really, really long time, months and months and months. And these international doctors that we look at say, I can't wait 6 months for a contract, and I've got to choose a job somewhere else. So I'll call it a hiring freeze. If Simeon wants to come and speak to any of this, I'd be more than happy to talk to him for hours about this. I have a lot of time for this because this is what matters to me. This is very important. And when you have huge numbers of psychiatrists missing in your psychiatry department, I've got a patient in a room waiting for 12 or 18 hours to get reviewed, to get admitted, because there's not enough beds, because there's not enough capacity, because there's not enough nurses hired on the surgical ward, the medical ward. When these things are happening, it's very, very real for me, and exceptionally real for my patients. Like, for me, it's an inconvenience, but for patients, it makes a difference in their life and in their outcome and in their health. And so I would like the opportunity to have an honest discussion for an hour or two with Simeon or Lester Levy or Shane or any of these people. And if they don't want to talk to me, that's fine. Talk to one of the other doctors, Katie Ben, David Bailey or others. You could find lots of people who have direct experience who would absolutely confront them with the reality of the situation on the ground. And I would just like them to stop telling untruths.